What is going on, gamers, gals, and gents? It is Joke over here in state 522, also known as Ice Creamy. I had my name changed like that. Anyways, in today's video, guys, I'm going to bring you my top 5 tips. My top 5 tips for newer players who are progressing. They're newer to this game. These tips will definitely apply to those who are still experienced in this game, who are trying to as well grow. Now, before I start this video, I want to talk about one thing very briefly. I have noticed on my YouTube channel that there's a very large portion of people who watch these videos and don't subscribe. Guys, please help me help you and drop a like and hit that subscribe button. I will continue to do these videos so long as my subscriber count continues to rise. My goal at the beginning of this was to have 1,000 subscribers, aka help 1,000 people, and we are well on our way. We are over halfway there now. Thank you so much for the support thus far, and please drop a like, hit that subscribe button. Okay, so to begin, I have top 5 tips. I've told you this just a second ago. It doesn't apply just for the new people. It applies for everybody who's looking for, some helpful tips to progress them to that next rank. In fact, I remember when I was just starting this game, I had no idea really how to play it, and it was a little complicated for me to learn. I don't know if it was complicated for you to learn. Drop a comment if you think it was. I think it was. I've never played a strategy game with multiple heroes like this, so it was just new. I was looking for something to try, and I'm for the most part happy I tried it. It's very complex, and there's a lot of drama sometimes, but hey, it's a fun game. So without further ado, let's get to it. My first piece of advice is going to be, guys, and I think, let me pause this video. I'm going to get the cursor so you guys can see where I'm pointing at. Give me 1 second. All right, we are back. I got my handy dandy little pointer. Thank you guys who have suggested this. I know it will help. Let's get to it. So if we can go over here to the technology tab, I'm going to click on that. And my first tip, guys, to grow stronger and to grow quicker is going to be to maximize this zone commemoration. Max the heck out of this. One of the first technologies, if not the first technology priority, should be zone commemoration. And I will tell you why. Because when you do zone commemoration, if you can scroll all the way down, so here's your first tier of when things start to get real crazy and awesome. Whoops, hold on. I messed that up. Let's go back up. So this first tier right here, right? You unlock what's called advanced rewards. Unlock level 4 to 6 Clash of Zone rewards. If you notice, and if we can go back, if you can click on events, come down to Clash of Zones competition and today's event, you'll notice there's 1, 2, 3 boxes. Well, once you fully maximize and unlock zone commemoration, there's actually 2 extra tiers of boxes. Right now, I am on that 3rd tier, so this is my 6th, 7th, and 8th. I'm sorry, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is my 7th, my 8th, and my 9th box. And the rewards just keep getting better. 4,000 diamonds, 2 million cash, 100% ticket, wisdom medals. There's 200 wisdom medals in every gold tier box in the Clash of Zone rewards, so that's huge. I got sidetracked. I was thinking of something. Oh, and this double rewards × 2. You see it says ×2. We'll get to that in a second. This is a huge, crucial thing. So let's go back to the technology. My first priority, and it wasn't my first priority until I learned how important it was, but my first priority would be to maximize zone commemoration. So you have your first or your second 4, 5, and 6 Clash of Zone rewards is unlocked very quickly after you open these 2 skills and you start to work on zone commemoration. After that, you unlock Arms Expert, which increases your points. So it's like a snowball effect. The more you unlock, the more points you get for everything, and then the more rewards you get. And if you can scroll down to the 2nd tier, not too far down, 2nd tier of rewards right here, you unlock level 7, 8, and 9 Clash of Zones rewards, the ones that I just showed you. Then shortly after that, I will say, I'm gonna back up here a second. When you unlock these, I wouldn't think it's realistic, guys, to hit it every single day until you start to do these guys right here. These upgrades are gonna give you extra points for various tasks like gathering, building, technological support, technology, building day, wisdom, using wisdom medals. Like once you start unlocking this last here or these bottom like technologies, that's when you really start to get naturally a lot more points for the things you're doing. So what I'm getting at is that it's going to be a little bit hard to get to this 7th, 8th, and 9th box. In fact, when I had this unlocked, when I had super rewards unlocked and these I was still working on, there was many times where I didn't make it to that 9th box. So just make it when you can. If you can't, don't worry about it. You'll be able to in the long run. So if you can scroll all the way down here, so you this whole time you're just increasing the technology, you're increasing the amount of points that you're able to get from doing these Clash of Zone events every single day. And by the time you get to the end, this is like the cream of the crop, creme de la creme right here, is this one more reward. If you click on it, so get double rewards when claiming a single player Clash of Zone rewards. And what I showed you guys right here is that everything doubles. So everything that you used to get, you literally now double. So it's 8,000 diamonds, it's 5 million cash, 2 100% Clash of Zone scores. Let me pause right here. A very, very effective way to make sure you're getting as much points in your Clash of Zones day is to enable, and I hope you know how to do this already, enable the 100% Clash of Zones score. So you can double your score when you're doing your Clash of Zones tasks. Make sure you are using that. You get 200 wisdom medals, as I said before, and then courage medals, guys. 1,700 times 2, that's 3,000, 3,400 in this last box alone. So on most days, aside from gathering day, you can accumulate about 7,000 courage medals per day. So you can start unlocking things like T9. If we can go back here, you can start unlocking things like T9, zone conflict. You can finish your zone commemoration, and you can start doing advanced technologies as well. One thing I will say on this before we move on to my next tip is that I understand, and you should be prepared, that these are going to cost a lot of courage medals. It's going to cost a lot of courage medals to finish this technology, which is why you should put it in the front of what you guys are doing. Keep it always in your mind and always focus on it. If you want to gain courage medals to upgrade this technology very, very fast, the best and pretty much only way to gain courage medals is to do the Clash of Zones competition boxes. So you can do this. This last one gives you the most. Try to get to it. This one gives you a fair amount too. And then the gold one in the tier before this, that second tier, gives you quite a bit as well. In total, like I said, about 7,000. But moral of the story, use your 100% tickets and get as much points in the Clash of Zones. Let me rephrase that. Get as much and as close to this last box, if not this last box, as possible. And that's going to give you the courage medals that is necessary for upgrading zone commemoration. Now, once you have upgraded zone commemoration, everything is going to be so much easier, I promise you. You're going to have so many diamonds, you're going to have so many courage medals, and you're going to be able to upgrade things like zone conflict. You're going to be able to go to T9. You're going to get hundreds and hundreds of millions of resources of iron's always a lower resource for me. But look at this, you're going to get thousands, millions, trillions. You're going to get a lot of resources. That's what I'm saying. So first and foremost, make sure that you are maximizing zone commemoration very fast. If you want to grow, you want to get stronger quicker than everybody else, you want to get to base 25 quicker than anybody else, do zone commemoration. All right, so that brings us to our second tip. which is actually going to be, we kind of just touched it on accident. My number 2 was Clash of Zones. So we can touch on this pretty quickly. There's going to be, again, 9 boxes total once you've maximized zone commemoration. And in these boxes, like I had just mentioned a minute or two ago, you're going to get tons of cash, tons of resources, tons of courage medals. And this is one of the best ways to grow, and the fastest. So make sure as much as you can. And like I said, I know it's not realistic to think like a base 18. I remember when I was like base 18, base 19, base 20. Guys, I did not get to my last tier of boxes every single day. But I tried my best. And if there was a day that I knew I could push to this last box, then I pushed to it. And that's going to be the difference between you making it and you not making it is just your ability to predict those things, your ability to save your courage medals, understand the Clash of Zones. But long story short, just make sure you do every day Clash of Zones. I will at minimum get to that 9th box now every single day and do a minimum of 3 daily challenges. And I do the daily challenges because if you don't know this, here's your little tidbit for the day. The first 3, well, technically any 3 that you do, up to 3, but not over 3, daily challenges will award you with hero tokens. Hero tokens you can use to buy duplicates in the token shop. If we can go back here to the token shop, you can see right now, they're out of rotation, but a week ago we had some season 1 heroes in here. So you can use tokens to buy fragments and to get dupes, doubles, or new seasonal heroes. Hopefully the token shop changes pretty quickly like they said they were going to, but we'll see what happens. That's really it. Clash of Zones. Do your boxes. Make sure you try as hard as you can because that's how you're going to skyrocket in strength. And 2 base 25, you're going to further progress everybody else, especially if you're young and you're just starting this. You're going to be awesome. Tip number 3. Tip number 3 is going to be to have a clear path. This is important to me, and I think it should be important to you guys too, to have a clear path of travel, right? So here's an example of what I'm kind of trying to say is when I first started this game, I really didn't know what I was doing. I started here, then I worked here, then I worked over here, and then I just took all of these technologies one by one, and I didn't realize how much zone commemoration would change my life or change the game until I did. What I'm saying though is set your sights and make a plan for what you want to do. Zone commemoration should be forefront in your mind. Your class APCs are going to be good as well, but have a clear direction of where you want to go to as far as T9 first. So when I went to T9, I first did shooter training. And when I did shooter training, I wanted to do shooter training because most people are attacking nowadays with vehicles. And if you've done your research with this game, shooters will counter vehicles. A lot of the times, not all the times, but majority of the times, shooters will win against vehicles. So I knew I was going to try to defend and attack initially with shooters. So now I defend usually with shooters, and I attack with sometimes shooters because I have 2 shooter APCs and vehicles as well because they're fast. And it's all going to be dependent on what heroes you have and whatnot as well. But the moral of that story is to try to have a clear and precise direction of travel as far as where you want to go first. What's your plan? Do you plan on doing vehicle T9 first? Do you plan on doing shooter T9 first? And are you going to do all 3 T9 before you go to elite military, or are you going to do 2, go elite military, and then come back to fighter training at a later point, or shooter training or vehicle training at a later point? So that's my 3rd tip. Pretty easy tip, but just have a clear direction of travel. I say this because I didn't, and if I would have been progressed even further by now. So learn from my mistake. Hopefully you will, and have a clear direction of travel. Which brings us to tip number 4. Tip number 4 is going to be to save as many wisdom medals as possible. And I understand, guys. I understand that when you are not maxed out on zone commemoration, and or you are a lower base level and you're struggling to get these wisdom medals, I understand it's hard, and it'll get easier. I'm here to tell you that. However, the one thing you can do to prioritize and help speed things up is save your wisdom medals. So there's twofold reasons why I'm saying this. The first reason is because on Hero Day, in most, not all, but in some of these boxes that you can get from the daily challenges, it's going to give you, I believe it's 100,000. Let me see if I can show you. It's going to give you these guys right here. It's going to give you 20. I keep losing my cursor. There it is. It's going to give you 20 in one box, 100,000 hero EXPs, right? So in most other daily challenge boxes throughout the week, you don't get those. So if you can save your wisdom medals so that you can do my hero flip trick, which I will post a link to in the description below, you're going to, on Hero Day, progress a lot further. You're going to get a lot of diamonds, you're going to get a lot of hero XP, and you're going to be able to upgrade your heroes faster so that you're stronger in the end. So, long story short, make sure you save as much wisdom medals as you can. Now, you will get wisdom medals, again, in the Clash of Zones gold boxes right here. I get 200 per gold box now. I get 600 per day. You can do the math. It adds up pretty quickly. If you're trying to max out heroes, you should have no problem with that. Number 2, also, what was I going to say? Oh, man, I'm losing my train of thought here. With wisdom medals, so I said in the daily challenges on Hero Day, you're going to get a ton of diamonds, you're going to get a ton of resources, you're going to get a ton of hero XP, you can upgrade your heroes. So if we can go back, one of the best ways, and one of the only ways when you're starting out to get hero wisdom medals, is to go to exchange. So as you go into exchange, the military academy, you can exchange tons of heroes for wisdom medals, right? So if I exchange 21 purple medals, I know that's not realistic for some of you guys, but if I did exchange 20 purple medals, I would get 1,000 wisdom medals, and then those 1,000 wisdom medals I could use to, there's 1,000, I could use those to complete my Hero Day Clash of Zones T9 box and get a massive amount of hero EXP as well. I hope that makes sense. That's going to bring us, pretty straightforward there, it's going to bring us to my number 5 tip. Maybe some of you agree with this, maybe some of you won't, but here's what I found, and this just works for me. So I'm just sharing it with you guys because this is what I've learned over the past. My number 5 tip is going to be save as many chips and save as many energy cores as possible, right? And the reason I say this is because one of the things that's going to make you guys stronger is your ability to craft parts, like gold parts like this. I have a full set now because I crafted them. Now, the only way to craft parts is, I mean, you can buy them obviously, but it's ridiculous how much they are. If you don't want to buy them, then from a young age, a young base, save energy cores and unlock zone commemoration, spend diamonds to, and if you can come up, you can come up here and to other, you can use diamonds all in here. You can see all in here. You can use diamonds to buy chests and chests of parts for, each specific type of APC. And you can use diamonds, but without energy cores, it's going to be hard to craft, because if you can come in here, you can hit the craft button and say we'll go to the ranger. We want to craft this guy right here. It's going to take down here 12.5k energy cores to go ahead and try for this orange part, right? And I will at some point come out with a guide on how you guys should be crafting parts, because there is a technique to it. It'll take you longer to craft all of these orange parts than it would to gamble for gold parts. But in order to gamble, you need a ton of energy cores. So that'll be in another video, but just know, save up your energy cores for crafting parts. Save up your diamonds so that you can buy the materials, and then save up your energy cores so that you can follow through and craft the parts. And if you can get gold parts, if you can get orange parts, it's going to put you ahead, especially in the early days and early seasons of Doomsday. It's going to put you well ahead of your opponents, especially with parts, and then, you know, good hero setups, good hero formations. So that's it on energy cores. Make sure that pretty much 24/7 you are always keeping these filled up. So look at this. It says production time right here is pretty much 7 hours. So almost every 7 hours. This kind of sucks, honestly, but it's one of the only ways you can progress quickly if you're trying to stay competitive. So every 7 hours, I come in here, or sooner, I come in here and I refill. And it sucks because it's 7 hours right now at a level 17 energy core plant. It's better with with chips right here. If you can check right here, it says 12 hours. So only every 12 hours I have to come back on technically and refill these. But since we're doing this video, and since they are a little bit low, I'm gonna go ahead and do it right now. It doesn't take long, and it's gonna make a huge difference. So the importance right here of the chips is for a couple reasons. So number two, I would say, is going to be for missile factories, right? From 20 to 21, it's going to cost us right here, it's going to cost 500, whoops, wrong one. From 20 to 21, it's going to cost 5,000 chips. And I found that the missile factories are a little bit more reasonable with how much chips it costs to upgrade them. However, I almost wish I would have waited to upgrade from 24 to 25 on one of these. When you max out, so your first task with chips is going to be to max out your war rooms, and your war rooms are going to give you extra buffs. If you can look at it right now, it's going to give you 30% resistance, 30% might for shooters, so long as all the shooters are, so long as all of the units in your APC are shooters. I hope you're following. Same with the fighters. If they're fighters all in your APC, then you get that buff. Vehicles, same thing. But the point here is that they do cost a pretty good amount of chips, right? They cost a lot of chips. So as long as you're cooking chips 24/7, when you get these opened, you're going to be able to progress and upgrade them faster than a lot of people, because not a lot of people know the importance of saving chips early. And if you can do that, you can see right here that you're going to have that edge on others, right? You're going to be a little bit stronger. After you unlock all of these war rooms to 25, you will get to unlock these two buildings right here. Combat Readiness Room and the Communications Interface Tower. Now, the first one that will come is the Combat Readiness Room, and it increases your siege marching speed by 50%. Now, in order to unlock the Communications Tower, which decreases the enemy marching speed, siege speed, by 50%, you have to max this out to 25. So you max this out to 25, then you unlock this, you max this out to 25, and then you unlock these. And these are the last buildings that require that kind of like chip upgrade, aside from the missile factories. Once you unlock these puppies, these training centers, we can go in here, we can see your combat speed is going to increase tremendously. Combat speed is how quickly you attack. So the higher the combat speed, here's an example. If I'm going to war, I'm in a battle with my enemy and my combat speed is higher than theirs, well, that typically means that I'm going to be the one that's going to get to attack first. So first to attack, I'm not going to say always wins, but first to attack is best because you can automatically start damaging your enemy quicker than they can damage you, right? There's a little bit more factors that play into it too, but to my understanding, you're going to be able to get more attacks in, number one, and number two, you're going to go first in battle. And it's a very, 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 very easy way to propel your strength forward. Without those, you're going to be a little bit weaker. That's just the reality of it. But as long as you can keep your chips going and accumulate them from the start, heck yeah, you're going to be good. Now, what I was going to say is from a level 24 to a level 25, shooter training specialty is pretty much the same. All the chip cost is the same for these 3 buildings. But from a level 24 to a level 25, I believe it cost me like somewhere like 35 to 40,000 chips. So if you can imagine doing that 3 times just from level 24 to level 25, it adds up very quickly. Now, if you were prepared to do this because you've been saving chips from the get-go, now you see the importance of, and now you see how you can progress quicker than others. So that's number 1. Number 2, in regards to the chips, is going to be your missile factories, right? So in Doomsday, one of the most effective ways to get those bases out of your state from tiling is to missile them. Before we go on, though, I will say this. A blast missile factory, it's probably the most pointless building that Last Shelter has ever created. And it doesn't do anything besides teleport their base somewhere else. It doesn't hurt their troops. The blast missile doesn't affect their power, their troops, their resources. It doesn't do anything. So 9 out of 10 times, I have found that I will just like cook up, I'll waste like 5,000 chips to make a bunch of blast missiles, and then I'll missile the enemy, and they just keep refilling their anti-missiles. So long story short, it just becomes the biggest waste of chips that I have ever come across. Now, that's just for blast missile. For combustion factory, things get a little bit crazy. And the point of me saying this and talking about these missile factories is because, as you've seen before, it takes chips to upgrade them, right? So you need to save your chips again. My primary focus in my case was on these rooms because they're going to make me stronger than having a couple missile factories, right? Now, this combustion missile factory you will unlock after level 20 of your blast missile factory, and you can do this regardless of what level your base is, to my knowledge, as long as you've unlocked the I think it's base 19, I think. As long as you've unlocked the blast missile factory, you can upgrade that bad boy, upgrade the silo, and then start for your gas and freezing missiles. Anyways, the combustion missile factory, now it's going to burn their resources and chips. It's also going to take more anti-missiles to hit it and to successfully kind of fight it off. But it's going to cost more chips to build these missiles, right? If we can go to production, look at this. Just for one, it's going to cost me 1,500 chips. It only has a destruction power of 2. The destruction power, it takes more anti-missiles to get this. So I still think it's really not super effective unless you're done with all your missile factories and you just want to burn a bunch of their chips because you're mad at them or something. So that being said, the one thing that I will say about these missiles is when you unlock it, right, the poison gas missile factory, and you can see in order to unlock the illumination one, I have to bring my combustion up to 23, and in order to unlock the poison gas one, I have to bring my illumination missile factory up to 25. So similar to the other buildings. 20 you unlock this one. At this one, 23 you unlock illumination, and then illumination 25 you unlock the poison gas. The poison gas though is going to be effective because it actually damages the troops. Now this is a missile that I would spend chips on creating, and it's probably going to cost a lot, but it will send their troops to the hospital, so they're going to have to spend tons of resources to go ahead and heal those troops. So if you did that in combination with like a combustion missile, now you're talking about doing some damage. But initially, guys, you're really not going to do that much damage. Like the blast missiles, like I said, it's kind of pointless. It's like the most pointless missile I've ever seen. It really doesn't do anything except waste your chips. So don't really focus on that. That's why I'm only waiting until now. My first priority was to do these advanced buildings, get those puppies unlocked, because those actually make you stronger. These missiles, they're just for fun. Really use them in Doomsday a little bit, but they're just for fun. You want to knock a base out so you can tile around it. That's cool. Just be prepared to lose a ton of chips. So, chips. that's the second part. We talked about energy cores, we talked about chips. Now you have a better understanding as to why you should always be cooking chips, and especially from a younger age. Now, it takes a lot of cash to make chips every day, but if you are constantly, whoops, I guess I can't see it, but if you are constantly trading for cash and or raiding your farms with T1 now, your ability to get cash is always going to be there. So that about sums it up, guys. We've talked about 5 tips. My first tip was zone commemoration, is to prioritize that and get that unlocked as quickly as possible. My second tip was to do as many Clash of Zones days and boxes as you can possible, because it's going to unlock so many good rewards for you, so many diamonds, so many courage medals, wisdom medals, etc. Number 3 was to have a clear path of travel as far as technology goes. Know what you're going to do. Only do, say, if I'm going to do vehicle training, only do vehicle training. Don't waste your medals on shooters. Do vehicle training, become stronger, get your T9, and then start working on something else. Number 4 was wisdom medals. Make sure you're saving up as much wisdom medals as you can. We also talked about how you can get those wisdom medals in the Clash of Zones boxes. You can get the wisdom medals, and you can also get the wisdom medals from exchanging at the military exchange. And number 5 was chips and cores. Keep your chips working 24/7. Keep them cooking 24/7, so you can start crafting parts, so you can start gambling for parts, and so that you can become stronger faster by making parts. And as well as that, number 5 was also to save as many cores and create as many chips as possible. Make chips 24/7. Make chips and cores 24/7. With great chips comes great strength. You can unlock awesome buildings, and you're going to need a ton of chips in the end to unlock and to maximize those buildings. I actually just finished mine about a week ago, and gosh, it was like the biggest weight lifted off my shoulder. I can move on now to bigger and better things. I wouldn't say better, but at least missiles, and that's going to be awesome for me. So I hope that this video helps you guys just a little bit. Those are my top 5 tips for beginners, for intermediate players, even for experienced players who are just looking for a refresh, or who maybe haven't learned all this stuff. Whether you're base 10, growing to a base 25, or whether you're base 25 already and you're just looking for some new information, I hope that sheds some light and helps all of our players. Until next time, guys, remember, drop a like and smash that subscribe button. It helps me help you. I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you soon.